This is Umbring Capital video diary entry about ideas, things that I see in the market, and things that are kind of becoming a bit more obvious now. Um, Primary assets watching are Mara, Marathon Digital Holdings, and it's quite a nice structure to reclaim kind of this liquidity here. We see that it's sort of coming up against some resistance in a number of forms, which could have a retest of this area before a macro expansion. These ideas could actually take a little bit longer to play out. That's quite a nice accumulation structure, but we are coming to the top of the range, just like Bitcoin is essentially coming to the top of the range itself. And then just kind of some signs of exhaustion, like in terms of the distance able to be traveled before kind of the selling came in again. It's been getting progressively less and less. Also looking at Cardano, I think is, and this is a purely technical case. I know nothing about the fundamentals of any real crypto, to be honest. But Cardano seems to be getting accumulated. Seems to be getting accumulated. Stick some of that volume out there. The structure is nice, coming into the medium-term mean. Top of the range. I think that perhaps these sort of smaller cryptos, they can get away with kind of more obvious double bottoms. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Cardano come back down into the kind of 25 to 30 cents area, which would give you, assuming crypto is going to go back into a bull, which I think eventually, I don't think it's going to go immediately. I think it's become clearer at least, that the scam is not going to be hiding the fact the market's going up. It's going to be washing them out here, tiring them out, the bulls, the retail bulls, by, for example, like coming down into, or it might not even take that long, kind of June, July bottoming structure before, what for Cardano would be a 10x, back towards that all-time high liquidity. Um, that would be a great trade. Mara, similar, from like $5-6 to 56 liquidity up here. It's offering much more attractive returns than Bitcoin. But of course, Bitcoin is the direction of the market. We see volatility based resistance coming in. So what does that look like for Bitcoin if Cardano is going down to form a double bottom? Does Bitcoin get down to 18K again? Maybe as a washout, as like a very, very nasty washout, but not invalidating the accumulation structure that's going in, because there is tons of liquidity here. That's a perfectly reasonable ceiling. Now that ceiling had been breached, perfectly reasonable ceiling. So that's the watch list: Marathon, Digital Holdings, and Cardano. I like Cardano in this setup. I think it's a very nice setup. I will continue to watch over the coming weeks before accumulating what I think will be quite a sizable position in Cardano to take this liquidity up here, potentially even up here. You know how it gets. Total generally reasonable. Total 2, very reasonable for a sell off. Hasn't even breached the first ceiling from the Bitcoin chart, which was here. So you see the Bitcoin has been outperforming alts quite considerably in the last couple of weeks. Um, which means A, there'll be a lot of pent up energy for alts to do something. But that comes after the first of the sell offs, typically. So the story is consistent. Checking on the metals. Boring. Retest the top liquidity. Boring. Retest the top liquidity. Sell, sell, sell. Oh, you know, if we go to the gold chart with actual volume on it, look at this. Absolutely absurd. Absurd volume. What has this done? That was that candle there, March 2022. What have we done? We've just retested all that liquidity that was left behind. People getting frothy about gold. I could be coping because I've sold all of mine, but I don't really like this. It looks odd. It looks odd. The volume is just absolutely absurd. Absurd. Silver macro. Much the same, really. Gold, silver. Gold, silver is going to go down. So I guess that would indicate that the precious metals markets are going to go up. It does look rife that gold, silver will go down. But it's not enough to steer capital from crypto and high growth stocks into gold. So it doesn't really, like, gold could go to 3K. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to outperform gold with, crypto choices. Like if Cardano plays out, say we get a rebuy here, like, does Cardano thereafter go to back to 40 cents? Yeah, I think it does. So, like, I'm not looking for the gains in gold. You get 550% off that proposed low at 25 cents. 550%. 6.5x. I'm not worried about the metals right now. Ethereum, though, it just looks like it wants to fall back down again. It just looks like they're conning people. It just looks like. Do I have drawings? I have a few drawings. Get rid of those for now. It just looks like this will be one leg of an accumulation, and then this will be the second leg of the accumulation of the same size, and then bull. Becoming clearer to me now. Time preference is very important, and when you're kind of over obsessed with charts, you can think that everything's going to play out immediately. But it's a fine balance between letting things play out but not waiting too long so that you miss it. So that's where we're at. What's Tether saying? Printers go into resistance. Retesting all-time highs. Tether. Look at the double bottom. Beautiful. Mimicking what the cryptocurrencies that are pumped by them are going to do also. Mimicking the double bottom and then a retest of all-time high. This is a leading indicator of the markets. Another leading indicator. What do we have there too? We have a double bottom there too. We have a little bit of a retest of liquidity, nowhere near all-time highs. Bang, 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 down into the lows again before moving up, moving up, moving up. Why am I drawing? Moving up, moving up, moving up, and we will see China Composite breakout. CNY, we're getting that move has been foretold already. Let me look at the currencies. What are we doing? Nothing much going on there. Bit of dollar strength on the way, I would imagine. Doing the same as gold, triple top. Bit of double bottom action there for the dollar. Probably going to get a bit of strength in the dollar now as it takes liquidity. You see how all these patterns are the same? You have to starting to see. I see this. I'm talking to anyone who I decide to share this to or with. See all these patterns are the same. Impulsive move, bottoming structure, retest of liquidity. They're all the setups are the exact same and they complement each other. I have this setup on the dollar, so I can look for inverse setup on Bitcoin. But there's a leading and lagging nature, and you have to figure out where you are in the cycle. So this is nice. This is a nice structure, and this is what I think. This is where I think we are. Just to take like it as an analog for other markets, this is where I think risk is. So we're going to get another bleed down into a double bottom, and then impulse move. But whilst we get that bleed down in risk, the fiat markets will go up. So you see how you can kind of look at the patterns and infer what they mean and view them in terms of like them being like a structural time series, and you can scale them and answer questions about stuff that you don't have the answer to when you're uh, interpreting information on the screen. What about traditional risk? Let's go to stonks. What is going on? Get a weekly view there, right? In very similar position stocks relative to where crypto is. S&P looks nice, very winding. Jesse Livermore liked this structure line of least resistance there. Beautiful. So, I mean, probably one more dip or not, but it doesn't have to. Like, the stock market can go up and crypto can not go up. Like, the stock market can have a minor pullback and the crypto can have a major pullback. And the stock market can break up while crypto is in a bottoming accumulation structure. That's like it's not one-to-one correlation. So that's like you can never really correlate or even study the correlations. It's just about observing and being a pattern recognizer and noting when assets are behaving in a way that's likely to influence other assets as like a ripple effect. That's the simplest way I can explain it. Dow Jones was always outperforming, so it's going to be a little bit higher as it is. Nice little pullback. It seems like the markets want to go here, to be honest. Like, so the stock market looks fairly nice. The stock market looks fairly primed. Could we justify one more pullback? Like, yeah, probably. Like, probably something else. Like, start poking into this level and then just get a little slight trace back into the medium term mean, and then go. Does Bitcoin collapse when this is happening? Accumulate, and then everything goes together potentially. So what's the Russell doing? Hasn't done much actually since it basically mimicked what Bitcoin did. Set the accumulation structure from well before it even had, or sorry, set the distribution structure. See, the Russell topped in February and was just going sideways all of 2021. Got its little stop until high right around when Bitcoin topped, topped for the second time in November 21, and then basically led the breakdown for all intents and purposes all of 2022. We've got that same kind of bottoming accumulation structure. Although to be fair, it doesn't look as clean of an accumulation as you would like. It looks almost like a redistribution. It looks like it doesn't really look very clean. Like you wouldn't really be confident buying those lows because it's like it just looks like it could be continuation, um, which obviously would be a weird one because why would that occur in a market that's otherwise going up? So strange one there in the Russell. Qs are just the same as the Nasdaq, so not much to say there. VIX. What's the VIX doing? Europe. So UK's been weird because we had break above all time high, new all time high, immediate smackdown, immediate retest. A lot of liquidity, it seems, floating about. Euro 100 just making its new all time high now, getting rejected back under it. Asia, there you go. China loves it, doesn't it? Yeah. So we're probably about here in terms of Shanghai composite chart. If you follow the pattern, bottom, spring up, down, re-high, retest the same area. So we're probably going to get a retest of about 18 to 20K in Bitcoin if the composite pattern holds. Then we'll get a short accumulation, and then we'll get a real breakout and continuation. But the double bottom there is telling, in my opinion, for what's coming. Keep going through Asia. Hang Seng looking all right for a retest of 22K, but obviously in level 3. 1, 2, 3. Distribution floor. Bounce off the distribution floor. Distribution ceiling, excluding the stop hunt there. You're going to get that range action, probably then a retest. So Hang Seng sideways. Nicking on the grinder level there, so up a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of same as the Russell. Could be accumulation, could be distribution. Not too sure. Not really touching it. Korea looking very nice. Will be bottoming structure, much the same as crypto. Same space to refill. Very nice for Korean markets. So there is liquidity getting to work in Asia right now, which means that that will flow into Western risk in a couple of months. So that would be your time scale for a markup, in my opinion, following a breakdown here if it plays out. Sensex, not much. Just seems like it's kind of lagging, to be honest. It seems like it's just lagging the West. Like they didn't really have a proper breakdown. And then they got this kind of stop hunty action, kind of very similar to the Bitcoin distribution in 2021. High, slight retrace, take out the high, bring it back under. So it seems like that market's in for a bit of a markdown phase coming up. So interesting stuff for India. Let's go quickly through some individuals on a weekly basis. Apple, boring. Adobe, doing the same as Cardano basically. So we're looking for the double bottom there. Stocks could rip, but they generally don't allow the retail to get in here and then to take that move. So they'll get them in here, they'll wash them out, and then they'll make the move, in my view. Amazon, similar structure, probably going to get a bleed down, like a little. So they've set where the low is going to be. So the case is just accumulating into this whilst you create a doom narrative. Not a doom narrative. It's not that big of a time frame, but doom narrative where you trap retail here, and on this bleed back with negative news, you make them think that it's going to keep going lower.